Hi, this is Linda McKendry. Welcome to part one of showing you how much you can change in a day. I want to show you what we did to begin the makeover process in Velda's store. I will explain some of the VMP display methods. Let me introduce you to Velda Painter, former owner of Velda's Grower Direct Flower Shop. She's a former owner because doing this makeover increased her sales 70% over 3 years and was part of her exit strategy to sell the business. This is one chapter in the story of Velda's Grower Direct Makeover. When Velda bought the business, the interior colors and finishes were in style for that day, but over the years it was looking shop-worn. Some aspects weren't functional, and to make things worse, twice vehicles had crashed into her storefront. It was time to make a change from this to this. We're just going to look at one corner, one side of the front area, and realize that in a flower store, a lot of times your sales are made by making deliveries, and people walk in, and as long as they can come into the cooler, the walk-in cooler where all the fresh arrangements are, they make their purchase and they walk out, so that this area of the store was very neglected. What our ultimate goal was to take traffic, sales, and profits to the next level. Here's what our goal was, and this what didn't happen in a day, but it was the ultimate goal. Before, this is what it looked like when you walked in. You can see that there was a lot of wall showing. I could tell right away when I looked around. I thought, where's the product? What's product here? What is a prop here? What's just furnishings? And of course, we had all the boxes stacked in here as well that had been delivered that day. So it was looking more like a homeless place for all these items that didn't really have a place to go. So what did we do in a day? We began with the windows. The windows are the most important. It didn't matter what we did in there. If the windows weren't looking good, then we weren't making that good first impression from outside. So right away we gathered up the existing fixtures that we could find. We put them in the window. I purposely picked shelves that were open so that the light would come through, and we began to build a theme. And the theme that we built was Easter, and spring and Easter, because that's the time of year that it was. When you look at the two windows, here's the one that was done before, and here's the one that I did. And again, it was done in the day, during the day, and we'll take a closer look at it. So which windows show abundance and a clear theme? What shows up the most? Light, bright, and white. When you look at the dark places on the window, they show the most reflection. The things that are light and brightly colored show up the best from the outside. What we want to do is group in space with color, pattern, and style. That is one of the methods that we use all the time. So here you see the outside of the window. We've grouped and masked with the teddy bears wearing purple and yellow. We have the tallest one and the longest one sitting at the top. And I lined the shelves with some bright green paper just to anchor them and to bring more color in and to kind of visually take away from the wood on the fixture. This is what it looked like from the inside of the store. On the other side, we had the teddy bears, and now the story there was more of a brown and an orange story. So I gathered up a few things and put them there. This is the view from inside the store. I want to point out that not everything has to be facing the window. Sometimes it's kind of fun to turn something to a side or even backwards, just to make it a little bit interesting. And the one thing we always recommend is using products for props. So you can see how you can show more stuff in less space when you use the product for the prop. And in this case, the little bear is sitting in the little flower pot, and I found two other clay pots and put them together. So this is how the display is working, making it really cute and telling a very clear spring and Easter story in the window, and putting a lot of stuff in one space. We carried on from there around the corner, and this is where I want to point out to you that if you look over here, you will see this item here standing alone. Now, I'm just going to change the color on this because that isn't showing up very much. Maybe a bright yellow will work. Okay, right here. You can see that item? Look over here. There it is. And there's one that's just like it, only a larger size. So you can see that when we took these items, we began to put them over and find other homes for them and group them. And you can see too that you can get through over here. You can't get through to the floor on the floor, and here you can see that we can get all the way back to where everything is shoppable, and even the items in the corner are within comfortable reach. We can also see that if someone comes in and they're looking for things that are silver or black, or they can find them in this section. Anything that's white or silver is in here. Anything that's brown and gold is in here. So you can see that we're starting to make an arrangement and putting a lot of things together. So the first thing we did was to gather up all the shelves and all the brackets and put them all on that wall and almost make a power wall out of it. And what we're showing you now was done in a day. Let's look at the next example. The next example is a little bit showing a distance. So you can see again how we started to build a display. There's more floor showing. People can walk in, and there's a ton more product. When you take a glance at this wall now, you knew that they were in the flower business and you could see what there was to choose from. So after, what did it look like? This is what it ultimately looked like when all was said and done. After the floor was new in and the slat wall was painted, and we purchased these fixtures and able to put more product in there and have it look really nice. The other thing I wanted to point out again was that if you can see down here, that table is what she was using for having the bride sit. You can see the two chairs stacked here. She would unstack the chair, find some room around the table, and this is where she had her bridal things. Compared to here, where we found a beautiful console in IKEA, and we got one slab of granite to put on the top. We hung a nice lamp over top with a little mirror in the back, and this cabinet here, and right away we created a beautiful place consultation for the brides to come in, compared to what there was there before. At the opposite corner of that wall, you can see what it looked like before, and again, everything is disjointed. There's no flow, there's no fluidness. Your eye doesn't really know where to land, and it looks skimpy. It looks like there isn't very much product and very much for sale. So what did we do in a day here? Again, we went and got the brackets, we got the shelves, all the shelves we could find. We put them all in place here. You can see that I had packed a few things in boxes. We lined all the boxes up there so they were stored during the renovation, and also created a little shelf to add more things too. What did it look like when it was done? Once the floor, the paint, and the fixtures were in place, you can see that there was a place for everything, and it was all shoppable, and you could get back into the corner. Let's look at the corner from a further view, back further. You can see that you're looking into the cooler. Here's what we did in a day. In addition to what we did against the wall, we also stacked up some of the other fixtures that were scattered around the store. We put them all and cozied them up here. And really what I want to point out too is how I took this table, this little console table she had been using, and I put the stools on top of it and added more height to create another place for products to be shown. That's taking up less floor space and building up higher. You can show more things in less space. The other thing that I did here that I want to point out is because the floor is such a big pattern, and the floor was being changed, but at the same time visually your eye wants to have everything in order. So when we turned the corner a little bit here so that people can walk into the cooler on the right and walk in behind and shop both sides of the display on the other side, then this table is lining up with the design on the floor. So it's something that the customer isn't going to be aware of or conscious of, but when you do that and pay attention to the detail, it's a lot better shopping experience for them. Here's just another view, again, showing the cooler, the one door to the cooler being unlocked and the other door just being like a large window. And here again, afterwards, this is what the area looked like, and again you can see that everything is cozied up, but it's shoppable and nothing is on the floor. In terms of the baskets being on the floor are okay, but you don't want any of the plush on the floor because they will get dirty and dusty and shop worn, and then they get devalued. So at the end of the day, this is what the store looked like. We have lots and lots of pictures taken over the years. You should see it when it's Christmas time, and then you should see it when it's wedding time. We kept changing it up all the time, but essentially this is what the space looked like. It was extremely functional, so you can see how that worked for Velda. We want you to take a look at the VMP and display book that I've written. To order and download your PDF copy of this basic guide, you can go to this todaysdisplays.com, and if you click on ebooks, this will come up and you're welcome to purchase it and use it and enjoy it. So thanks, and we'll get back to you soon.